Caitlin and welcome back to the Lit Review. It's been a hot minute since I have sat down to film literally anything, and mostly because I just didn't feel creatively compelled, didn't have the energy, but I'm kind of going to take the moment to do a bit of a reset on this channel, and today's video is going to be a little chatty, but mostly me unwrapping all of these wrapped books that I was using for my LitLand books. So if you don't remember, because it's been a minute, or if somehow this is your first video with me, in which case, wow, what a weird context, I'm so sorry. I decided to wrap 5 of each of my TBR game LitLand categories. No wait, 6? 5, 6. That was too many. That was far too many. And I ended up feeling like kind of creatively stuck, like I was still unwrapping these books like 4 or 5 months later, and it really made me not want to pursue my LitLand game. What we're gonna do is all of these books were one of two things. They were either a random selection from my partner Jeremy, just so that he could, you know, throw one in there, or they were books that I wish I had read in 2021. So I actually have quite a few of them here stacked up on the desk, all wrapped up. So we're just gonna have some serotonin, unwrap a lot of things together so that we can reboot LitLand in peace. You can see right here, a little cat foot poking through. This is not my cat. Her name is Rowan. We are cat sitting for a good friend, and she's just a really chill, sleepy girl who likes to hang out on my desk. So that's where she's gonna stay. You might also hear some very cranky meows, which are my cats who are not allowed in this room while I'm filming. So, you know, noises and new cats may appear, but all is well. So in LitLand, I have a bunch of different genres that I pull from. I have sci-fi or fantasy, I have historical, non-fiction, young adult, romance, and then the 6th one, it is 6, is miscellaneous, so that just like catches anything else that wasn't automatically covered by the main genres. I skipped a step. I'm halfway done to unwrapping it, but this is one of the sci-fi or fantasy books that I didn't pick. And this one is Hannah Witton's For the Wolf. I think this one got a fair bit of hype last year, and still sometimes gets a fair bit on Book Talk as well as on BookTube. This feels like a bit of a broad strokes Little Red Riding Hood retelling, but I feel like there's a lot more mythology to that. I truly don't know a ton of these books, so I'm not gonna like fake the funk and pretend that I know all the things. But why it grabbed my interest was like a lot of people were talking about it. I love retellings, so this was one of my picks. Oh, hi Rowan! We actually have 4 of the sci-fi fantasy genre ones, because that one just didn't organically come up for like the first 4 something months of LitLand. I also had to take a lot of punishments because I was just not feeling my own system. Hey, excuse me, we don't destroy this chair in this house. It's a very special chair. Thanks. Aha! So this one is definitely a Jeremy pick. Like I said, I did 5 of each of the 6 categories, but one of those 5 was a Jeremy pick, Jeremy being my partner. So it is no surprise to me that he picked The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. I am very slow at finishing series, typically. Like, it just doesn't suit my very ping-pong random read style to like plug through a series usually. So this one is the 3rd of the Mistborn series, and I do really want to know what happens in this, and I really want to talk to him about it, because that's like half the fun of reading with these books with him, is because he loves them so much. All right, more sci-fi fantasy. So this is The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith. This one I think has been on my radar for a really long time. I think it's been on a lot of people's radar. It's definitely been talked about a lot here on YouTube. Basically, unwritten or unfinished stories have like a neutral space within hell. That's kind of like where they go to stay, and one of them escapes. The librarian has to kind of chase it down, or at least that's my top level understanding of this. I really wanted to read it. It's just never felt like the right mood or time for me. Yeah, and there's one of my boys very cranky that he can't be in here. I'm gonna try to reprioritize this. Oh, look, we got a tiny one. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, it's been so long that I don't even remember doing most of these things. So The Psychology of Time Travel by Kate Mascarenhas. Again, I am a huge sucker for time travel as a jumping off point or concept point within stories. So this is what grabbed me, but I'm just really interested in this. So this is definitely one that I wish I had read last year. Big, very big. Okay, I should have known just by the size of this thing. So this is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Everybody talks about how thick this book is. Everybody shows off the thing. I've more or less regretted not reading this since I picked it up, but I've learned about myself that like I tend to prefer books that are under 500 pages. Usually I tend to gravitate towards things that are somewhere in like the 3 to 350 range if my Storygraph stats are anything to go by. Yeah, understandably this is some of the intimidation factor. I've heard nothing but good things, or at least like you will have strong opinions, and books that inspire strong opinions are fun for me. This is a fantasy, like sapphic, I believe, a sapphic fantasy, so I want to read this. I will make it happen. I'm pretty sure we only had 3 young adults that we didn't get to. So let's get into these. Yeah, okay, I remember choosing this one for sure. Crash of paper. Yolk by Mary H.K. Choi. Totally one of my most anticipated books from last year. The aesthetic of it, top-notch, gorgeous, gorgeous book, but I didn't read it. I tend to like Mary H.K. Choi's style. I've read a couple of her books at this point and really enjoyed them. This one has to do with sister relationships, and the biggest off-the-cuff trigger warning is that I know one of the sisters gets cancer, and it's about their like coming back together and coming to terms with things. That's like the broadest take on this, having not read this book yet. So I've also been kind of waiting to be in a good headspace for this because my mom is in remission from cancer, and I know how difficult and emotional that experience can be on family dynamics. So I'm kind of just like, I really want to read this because I think this author is going to do the topic justice, but also I need to be in the right frame of mind to pull this off, you know? Oh, surprise cat. This next one also totally makes sense why I really wanted to read this last year, and that's Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Mbouli, and this is an Indigenous author, Own Voices story. It's a YA, but it has like components of like mystery to it, and I've heard just glowing reviews from dang near everybody that has read it, and also the cover's really gorgeous. I just really need to get off my butt and read it because this was like a big deal last year, and I still haven't done it. I do feel like that's kind of on brand for me as a person though. Last YA. I tend to want to read all the things that people are loving and hyping and like praising, but I tend to resist doing it for a minute. Like, I don't know what that is about my personality, but I'm just like, no, I really do want to read that. I want to have an opinion about the things that other people have opinions on. And then I'm gonna hit pause on that for like a year to 2 years, and then I'll read the thing and be like, why isn't anybody talking about this? Who wants to chat with me? It's a really unfortunate quirk. This is We Free the Stars by Hafsa Faisal. I really enjoyed her debut, We Hunt the Flame. This is the sequel to that book. Also kind of thick, but exquisite. I'm obsessed with the covers. I'm such a huge fan of the first one. And like I said before, I really don't follow up on series very quickly. So I do want to prioritize this because it is a series I care about and an author who was truly one of my all-time faves from 2020. Only had one Miscellaneous left. I did not have any romances left. I read all of those through the game. I also basically, in my absence, where you haven't been seeing me play the LitLand, you haven't been seeing me read or talk about any books, it's almost like universally been romance novels. I've been really enjoying that genre lately, so I think you'll be seeing more content from me about that. The last unread Miscellaneous was The Death of Vivek Oji by Kweke Emezi. I read Pet in Either 2020 or 2021, all the time. It is blurring together. But I really enjoyed their writing style. I want to read The Death of Vivek Oji, and I really want to read their new release. I think the full title is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. I think that's right. But I need to get through this first, and I'm also kind of hoping for that other one to come out of hardback before I pull that off. I have, again, heard nothing but good things. Really would like to dive deep into this, but it's another one that I've kind of hit pause on because, frankly, I haven't been in a very good headspace lately, and it makes it hard to want to pick up books that ask a lot of my empathy or that need me to be in a certain level of, like, core strength to receive the stories that they are trying to let shine. And I see the immense value in the books like that are difficult to read. But my poor little brain and my poor little heart has not been in the right level of care or health to do that. So, but would very much like to read it. Only one nonfiction from all of this. This last nonfiction that we are unwrapping together, Invisible Women, Data Bias in a World Designed for Men by Caroline Criado Perez. This is just right up my alley in terms of a nonfiction read. Really love a well-researched bit of nonfiction, but in this case it literally is about like how the systems in our world, and particularly data-oriented systems like search engines, are really aligned towards like just male identity, and like how that creates like invisible women. Really interested in this as a topic. All right, and then the last category. We didn't pull a lot of historicals. These are all my historicals that I wish I had read in 2021. I think we only had like one in our time together. So let's see what's inside these. I have no idea whether I picked this one or Jeremy picked this one, but this is The Huntress by Kate Quinn. I have returned to Kate Quinn as an author intermittently throughout my reading life, but I generally like her historicals. Like, they're not earth-shattering, but they are like just comfortable, enjoyable reads. Would love to know more about this book. Not gonna go through the whole rigmarole of pretending I know what's what. I just picked it up because of the author, and I generally like her stuff, so it seemed like a safe bet. Another one. Ooh, yeah, definitely wish I had read this last year. This is The Silence of Girls by Pat Barker, or Silence of the Girls. Here's another thing I'm just a sucker for. I have read probably dozens of versions of Greek mythology from a different perspective. Like, so specifically, I've read several versions of the Trojan War from maybe like Helen's perspective, or I've actually read another novel from Barcias's perspective, or a bunch of short stories. And I know this is kind of becoming trendy again, or was trendy again, like in the last couple of years, with things like Circe, Madeline Miller's novel. So this was definitely something I picked up during that wave of things, and I'm hoping it's good. Ta-da! Oh, this is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. This one was clearly one of my remaining outstanding Book of the Month books from when I was still a subscriber. So I know this book handles things like colorism and how that affects the two main characters' lives, twin sisters who have different skin tones, though they are both black, and one can kind of pass for being white. Hoping to just like really immerse myself in her writing because I hear just excellent things about Britt Bennett. So that's where we're at. All right, last one to unwrap. Okay, this is super valid. This is Ian McEwan's Sweet Tooth, which, if I go way back to the beginning of my channel, which I started almost 2 years ago, this was one of the books that I think showed up in one of my earliest TBRs. Here it is. So I understand why I regretted not reading it in 2021. I like Ian McEwan's writing. He falls into that category of like generally enjoy, but not necessarily like always obsessed, if that makes sense. Like the one book of his that makes me continue to try his writing again and again is Atonement. I think Atonement is one of his best novels. I think Atonement is also one of the best adaptations that I've ever seen from book to movie format. Obviously, it was a book first. So that on the strength of that one experience, I continue to read Ian McEwan books, sometimes from the library, but this is like the only other one I own. It is a 70s era spy book. Like a young woman kind of gets wrapped up in a charismatic professor and is like asked to kind of like spy on him or report on his behaviors. Yeah, so it's a mystery. It's set in the 70s. It's got some historical vibes. I really do think when I get off my butt, I will enjoy reading this, but like it's been years. So those are all the books that were in my like stacks of wish I had read in 2021. Thanks so much for taking some time and hanging out with me today. I hope you're having a really good reading day or night, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.